Plasmolysis, one of the important phenomenon of the plant body, and it is also related with the loss of water from the cell sap and thereby its shrinking and again regaining of the shape of the shrinked protoplasm. So what is exactly this plasmolysis and what for it is important to the plants? So if one see the potted plant, if it is not given water, then it wilts. This wilted plant again becomes fresh, and that is only after giving sufficient amount of water. So what happens that makes the plant to remain to become fresh again? The wilted plant becomes fresh. This is because of the process of deplasmolysis. So plasmolysed cells gets deplasmolized by water or by gaining the lost water, and thus the process of deplasmolysis occur over there. So what exactly plasmolysis is, what is its definition, and what are the principles of the principles behind. So all these things we will see during this discussion. So one can define plasmolysis as the shrinkage of protoplasm. Shrinkage of protoplasm. Protoplasm along with nucleus cytoplasm, which is present in the cell, that gets shrinked due to loss of water. Loss of water means the amount of water from the cell sap will become less. This water will go out of the cell sap, and thereby its volume will decrease and shrinkage will occur. And this shrinkage is uh, observed when cell or tissue is placed in a hypertonic solution. The external solution must be of higher concentration than that of the cell sap. So then only plasmolysis occur. So if we see, if a cell is taken in a beaker, we can say, containing the external solution as a hypertonic solution. So in it, if we place the cell, then the beaker is filled with the external solution, that is the water. So what will happen over here? Water from cell sap will come out into the external solution, and that's why cell sap will lose water due to the process of exosmosis, and this leads to the shrinkage of protoplasm. And how it occur, that we will see uh, during this discussion. So see here, you can see in the diagram, you can see on the screen that A, here this cell, it represents a, in A the cell is turgid, or we can say the uniformly distributed cell sap is over here. Then in cell, another cells, you can see here in B cell, here at the corner, the protoplasm start shrinking. So protoplasm leaves, or the plasma membrane leaves the cell wall. This is cell wall, and you can see here this is plasma membrane. So here you can denote it clearly. The plasma membrane is the outermost membrane over here, which is surrounding to the uh, surrounding to the cell sap. See, this is the just a minute. See here, this is the plasma membrane. This boundary represents plasma membrane. This is cell wall. This is cell wall. This is plasma membrane. Now, if cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, what happens? The cell sap, from cell sap, water moves out. From cell sap, water moves out into the surrounding, or just inside the we can say cell wall. So water will move out of the protoplasm, and protoplasm starts shrinking. So these are the stages from A to B to C to D. You can observe here, well distributed, uniformly distributed. This cell sap is here. It is a large central vacuole. Now here just starting of contraction of the protoplasm you can observe. So starting of contraction of protoplasm, it is a incipient plasmolysis. The process is called as a incipient plasmolysis. Now in the next stage, in figure C, you can see somewhat in a more manner the contraction of protoplasm is here in this cell, and at last you can see the fully plasmolized cell. So here the plasma membrane, inside the plasma membrane there is contraction of the protoplasm, and this is a empty or we can say this is the space now, which is filled with the help of plasmolizing solution, means hypertonic solution in which we have kept the cell. So this space will be filled up by the hypertonic external solution, and at the center somewhere you will observe contracted protoplasm. So I think you might have came to know the basic concept of this plasmolysis is. So initially cell remains filled with the protoplasm, and this is distributed throughout the cell, that is represented in the A figure, and later stages shows the consequent contraction of the protoplasm, and at last in D figure you can observe the maximum contraction of the protoplasm. So initially this cell is a normal cell, A cell, then B cell. Here the plasmolysis has started and call it as a incipient plasmolysis stage. Then in the C, the somewhat progress in the contraction of the protoplasm, and in D you can observe fully plasmolized centrally placed protoplasm which surrounds with the plasma membrane. So like this the diagrammatic representation and the discussion related with the plasmolysis we have seen. Actually we will go towards now the actual discussion key, what is plasmolysis. I have told you definition of plasmolysis, that is shrinkage of protoplasm leaving cell wall, LEAVING. Remember, this will be asked for 1 mark. Then I have told you the another definition, that is incipient plasmolysis. See, starting of plasmolysis is called incipient plasmolysis. See, in this B figure you can observe that at corners somewhere there is starting of contraction of the protoplasm. So this starting point of contraction of protoplasm is a incipient plasmolysis. This is also asked for 1 mark. Then this cell or D cell, it represents, or D step, it represents the fully plasmalized cell. Now one more thing, if fully plasmalized this cell D1, if fully plasmalized cell is kept in a beaker having now hypotonic solution having less concentration than that of the cell sap. If it is placed in hypotonic solution, what happens? The plasmalized cell gets deplasmalized. So water enters in the cell and it reaches to the protoplasm, and thereby the protoplasm regains its shape, and the process is called as a deplasmolysis. So after deplasmolysis, the protoplasm will be distributed throughout the cell, like this you can say. So the condition will be somewhat like this. So just like this, the protoplasm will regain its shape, and the process is called as a deplasmolysis. So what is deplasmolysis? When cell is kept in hypotonic solution, the plasmalized cell regains the protoplasm of plasmalized cell regains its shape, and it is called as a deplasmolysis. So three terms you came to know: plasmolysis, incipient plasmolysis, and deplasmolysis. Okay, definition you came to know. Plasmolysis means the shrinkage of protoplasm leaving cell wall, Leaving. So cell wall is not contracted. Instead, the inner things, right from protoplasm, contraction, protoplasm covers the cytoplasm along with nucleus. We call it as a protoplasm. So contraction of protoplasm as such you can observe over there. So how it happens, that also we will have to see in brief the phenomenon of plasmolysis, how it happens. If normal cell is placed in water, there is increase in turgor pressure. This thing you can imagine. If normal cell is placed in a water is a pure solvent, and here the water will be absorbed by the cell sap. Cell sap will be having more concentration as compared to the pure solvent, and that's why turgor pressure of the cell will increase. Cell gets fully turgid in pure water. If plant cell is placed in strong solution or hypertonic solution, water molecules diffuse out of the cell. Exosmosis takes place here. Plasma membrane leaves the cell wall. The whole protoplasm contracts in the center, and this process we call it as a plasmolysis. The starting of plasmolysis you call it as a incipient plasmolysis, and if this process continues for long time, it causes permanent plasmolysis. Such a cell can't regain turgidity even after it is transferred to the hypotonic solution, and eventually it dies. If plasmalized cells after incipient plasmolysis kept in water or hypotonic solution, water molecules diffuse into the cell, and it is called as a endosmosis. So the process is a endosmosis, and as a result of endosmosis, the protoplasm regains its shape, and the process is called as a deplasmolysis. I have told you it. So what is the significance of this process to the plants? That is important. So plasmolysis is useful for making the fruit jellies, In the process of making of fruit jellies, usually more sugar is added to the juice than the amount needed to achieve the desired degree of sweetness. This thing we do, and due to more addition of the sugar, this thing raises the solute content of the jelly to such an extent that bacteria and mold cells fails falling into the jelly. They are quickly plasmalized and they get died, or their death occurs. And this is the important thing, that thus the jelly will not get spoiled. So for preparation of jellies, the plasmolysis, how it keep the jelly uh, away from the infection that we have seen. Secondly, salt is added to the meat and also to fish, and salt here acts as a preservative. Salt prevents deterioration of the meat and fish, as when deteriorating agents come in contact, gets plasmalized and killed. So external solution becomes hypertonic, and if bacteria or fungi, they come in contact with the they try to contaminate the fish or meat, then ultimately, due to high concentration of external solution or hypertonic solution, plasmolysis occur over there, and these microbes, or they get killed, and thus we can preserve the meat and fish for longer time. One more thing, the weeds, grasses growing on footpaths can be eliminated by sprinkling salt solutions around their roots. So eradication of the weeds, we can say, if hypertonic solution of salt is sprayed to their roots, the plasmolysis of the root cell occur, root death takes place, and ultimately plant die. So eradication of weed due to the plasmolysis, this concept one can apply for the eradication of weeds, and the principle behind is the plasmolysis of the root cells. So like this, we can have the idea of plasmolysis. See one more diagram over here on the screen. So A is cell, all three cells are there. So A figure is of normal cell, B is for the turgid cell. Turgidity occurs if the cell is placed in a hypertonic solution. So turgid cell, it exerts pressure on the cell wall. See the diagrams of the arrows you can see over here. So from center towards cell wall, the pressure is exerted, and you call it as a turgor pressure. So this happens due to the entry of the water into the cell after placing the cell into the hypertonic solution. And at the same time, you can have the another force, that is the wall pressure. So this is the direction of the wall pressure. See opposite direction of the wall pressure to turgor pressure. Here the black arrows indicates the arrow direction of the arrow of wall pressure, and here this arrow, it indicates the turgor pressure. Anyhow, the third cell, it represents the plasmolyzed cell, third, or C we can say. So here plasmolyzed protoplasm is at the center, and this happens due to the outward movement of water from the protoplasm. So try to draw these figures and try to understand the principle behind and the terms I have told you, like plasmolysis, deplasmolysis, incipient plasmolysis. Once again, I will tell, incipient plasmolysis means the starting of plasmolysis process is called incipient plasmolysis. Plasmolysis means the shrinkage of protoplasm leaving cell wall. Deplasmolysis means the if plasmolysed cell is kept in hypotonic solution, the protoplasm regains its shape and the process is called as a deplasmolysis. Okay, that's all for plasmolysis.